The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, published in August 2020, is a genre-blending novel that mixes fantasy, contemporary fiction, and philosophical musings. It explores themes of mental health, existentialism, and the nature of choice. The novel centers on Nora Seed, a woman overwhelmed by despair and regret, who encounters a mysterious library that offers her the chance to explore alternate versions of her life. The Midnight Library is often classified as contemporary fiction, but its strong philosophical undertones give it a deeply reflective and speculative quality, positioning it within a unique narrative space where fantasy meets personal growth. The setting of the Midnight Library is split between the real world and the ethereal space of the Midnight Library itself. Nora Seed, the protagonist, starts her journey in a small English town, where her life is filled with sorrow and regret. This everyday, familiar world soon gives way to the dreamlike, magical library, a place that exists between life and death. In this liminal space, time stands still, and an infinite number of books line the shelves. Each book represents a different life Nora could have lived had she made different choices. The Midnight Library is a metaphysical construct, neither heaven nor hell, but a kind of purgatory where Nora is able to reflect on her existence. It is staffed by Mrs. Elm, Nora's former school librarian, who serves as both guide and guardian to Nora as she navigates the library's infinite possibilities. The library is a peaceful yet disorienting place, representing a suspension of time and the endless potential that lies in the choices people make. The novel begins with Nora Seed's deep despair. She feels trapped in a meaningless existence, overwhelmed by a series of failures and regrets. She has lost her job, her relationships have crumbled, and she feels distant from the few people she loves. After a particularly bleak day, Nora decides to take her own life, convinced that her existence has no value. However, instead of dying, she wakes up in the Midnight Library, a strange, otherworldly space filled with endless rows of books, each one representing a different version of her life. Mrs. Elm, her childhood librarian, explains the purpose of the library. Every book offers Nora the chance to experience what her life might have been like if she had made different decisions at crucial moments. Nora is encouraged to explore these alternate lives in the hope that she will discover one in which she is truly happy. The catch is that if she finds a life that fulfills her, she can stay there. If not, she will return to the library, where she must either continue searching or face death. Nora begins to explore various versions of her life. In one, she pursued her childhood dream of becoming a glaciologist and finds herself on an expedition in the Arctic. In another, she stayed with her former band and became a rock star. In yet another, she marries her ex-fiancé Dan and runs a country pub. Each of these lives initially seems like it might offer Nora the fulfillment she desires, but as she delves deeper, she discovers that no life is perfect. The glaciologist version of her life is isolated and emotionally cold. The rock star life, while glamorous, comes with its own set of personal losses. The life with Dan quickly proves stifling, filled with the problems that led to their initial breakup. Throughout her journey, Nora confronts her deepest regrets and begins to understand that every life comes with its own unique challenges. She learns that the illusion of a perfect life is just that, an illusion. In a particularly poignant moment, Nora visits a life where she has chosen not to let her cat die, only to discover that this life is still riddled with unhappiness for other reasons. The message becomes clear. Regret and dissatisfaction are not solely tied to the choices one makes, but to the mindset with which one lives. In the climactic stages of the book, Nora finds herself growing more disillusioned with the idea of finding the perfect life. Eventually, she realizes that what she seeks isn't a different life, but a different perspective on her current one. This epiphany leads to her decision to return to her original life, equipped with newfound self-awareness and a sense of hope. She learns that while her life may not be perfect, it has potential, and that happiness lies in how she chooses to live it, not in chasing an ideal version of herself. The novel concludes with Nora waking up from her near-death experience in her original life. She is no longer filled with despair, but rather with a renewed appreciation for the possibilities that her future holds. Nora embraces the imperfections of her life, understanding that it is her choices going forward, not the ones from the past, that will shape her happiness. The Midnight Library explores several key themes, most notably the nature of regret, choice, and personal growth. At its core, the novel is about Nora's search for meaning in a life she initially views as wasted. The idea of parallel lives is used as a metaphor for the infinite possibilities that exist within every decision we make. The library represents the vast web of choices that define human existence and the alternate realities that emerge from those choices. A major theme in the novel is the illusion of a perfect life. Nora initially believes that if she had only made different choices, her life would have been better. However, as she explores her alternate lives, she learns that every life, no matter how appealing it may seem on the surface, has its own set of flaws, challenges, and disappointments. This realization forces her to confront the fact that there is no such thing as a perfect life, only a series of choices, each with its own consequences. Another key concept is the importance of perspective. Nora's journey through the Midnight Library is not about finding the right life, but about changing how she views her own. She learns that her dissatisfaction with her life comes not from the specific choices she made, but from her inability to accept the imperfections and potential within it. By the end of the novel, Nora understands that happiness is not a destination, but a way of thinking. The novel also touches on mental health, particularly depression and suicidal ideation. Nora's initial despair is a reflection of her overwhelming sense of failure and her struggle with mental illness. Haig, who has spoken openly about his own experiences with depression, uses Nora's journey to illustrate the importance of hope and the idea that life, no matter how bleak it may seem, always contains the potential for change. The Midnight Library is a heartfelt and thought-provoking novel that blends fantasy with deeply human concerns about choice, regret, and self-acceptance. Matt Haig's narrative is a reminder that no life is free from suffering or hardship, and that the key to happiness lies not in erasing our mistakes, but in learning from them. Nora's journey is one of self-realization, illustrating the transformative power of perspective and the idea that every life, no matter how flawed, holds meaning. Through Nora's exploration of infinite possibilities, Haig conveys a message of hope, resilience, and the importance of embracing life's imperfections. The Midnight Library ultimately leaves readers with the understanding that the pursuit of happiness is not about finding the perfect life, but about finding contentment within the one we already have.